even though we're pretty deep into 2025, I still have great kind of conviction when it comes to Flare, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and here are the reasons why. First of all, the idea of 25 cents, that's still in my mind. But before I dive into that, I first want to talk about the timeline, because some people may be thinking, oh, what do you mean? We're already kind of like, far along 2025. We're near the end of this year. What do you mean by that? Let me explain real quick. Altcoins usually, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now we have to consider, when was the last Bitcoin halving event and when did it happen? It happened back in April 2024. So we add 18 months on top of that. That's around October this year. Now, is that a guaranteed date or something like that? I mean, it might be different because each cycle is going to be different things going on. However, to me, even if, let's say, it's delayed by 2 months, so let's say December, even at that point, I wouldn't even find that like such a long timeline anyways, which is why I still believe in this year, 2025. And even as a worst case, maybe in Q1 of next year or something like that, I still wouldn't mind either, because I still like the fundamentals when it comes to Flare. If, let's say, FLR went to the price of 25 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $18 billion. Keep in mind, 25 cents is around a 10x from here. So it's not like it's that far away in the grand scheme of things. And if we take a look at the market cap, again, considering current circulating supply around $18 billion, we've seen like Dogecoin pretty much exceed this by around $70 billion in market cap, and that was back in 2021, so that's years ago. I don't think that's too ridiculous, at least to me. However, on top of that as well, what I like about Flare is that it allegedly is the blockchain for data. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, who cares about that? Well, I care about it, and let me explain why. For instance, it's been noted that Flare provides developers with decentralized access to data from other chains and the internet. It's also, by the way, an EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, smart contract platform with 2 data acquisition protocols. Now, what are those 2 data acquisition protocols, right? The first one is called FTSO, and the second one is called the Data Connector. And I'm going to explain FTSO first. FTSO stands for Flare Time Series Oracle. Now, some people may be thinking, who cares about that? Well, the key takeaway for me is the word oracle in that sense, because an oracle, it's basically a data feed that brings data from off the chain, so it's like off-chain data, and then it brings that data over into the blockchain. Now, some people might be thinking, who cares about that? Why is it even needed? It's because literally many decentralized applications out there without off-chain data, they wouldn't really be able to function properly. So this is pretty much crucial. Now, if we want some examples of like a project that is heavily focused on oracles, we'll take a look at something like Chainlink. And I think a lot of people know what Chainlink is. And that's very well known for its decentralized oracle network. We take a look at also something like Pyth. Now, Pyth is like nowhere near as popular as Chainlink. It's pretty okay, in terms of popularity, but Pyth is also, focused on oracles. So that's just some examples right there. So yeah, I think you get the whole vibe here. And if we take a look at FTSO, it's focused on decentralized prices, and this can hypothetically offer decentralized price and data feeds to decentralized applications on Flare. However, besides that point, if we take a look at beyond how FTSO is a native oracle for Flare, we'll see something called the Data Connector, which is the second data acquisition protocol. However, even besides that, we'll take a look at, for instance, the Data Connector is for trustless data proofs, and this enables information from other blockchains and the internet to be used on Flare. And if we take a look at allegedly, it's even been historically noted that giants like Anchor and as well as Google Cloud was a part of the Flare ecosystem. So I think overall, I don't think Flare is such a bad project. I know some people like to say, oh, it's not cool, it's not interesting and all this. To me, I get it. It's not some hyped up project in a way where something like a meme coin, for instance, could be, or a project that is like heavily focused on AI or something like that. This is kind of a little bit of a different vibe, but I don't mind though, because I like the fundamentals. I like the use case. It may be not the most popular project out there, but I don't really mind either, because sometimes people like to tell me, okay, you know what? 25 cents, who cares about that run a 10x from here? Well, here's the thing. What is Bitcoin and Ethereum going to do in the next 6 to 10 months? I mean, logically speaking, let's say just in that 6-month range, right? Some people are maybe saying, oh, this cycle, Bitcoin 300 grand. But even at 300 grand, less than a 3x from here, And also, we take a look at Ethereum. At 10 grand, less than a 3x from here, despite the pullback. So really, in the grand scheme of things, if someone told me, or if someone asked me, right, FLR, Bitcoin, or Ethereum, even though I can't make a decision for anyone, in my personal situation, if I was given those three options, I would have to select, right? I would have to choose something like FLR. Now, granted, I don't only just hold FLR, but at the same time, if I only had those options, this is going to have to be the winner, because even if, let's say, FLR went to the price of 12.5 cents, so let's say around a 5x, give or take, even at that point, I would still rather choose that or believe in that idea over, believing in Bitcoin and Ethereum for, let's say, the next 6 months. It's just my mentality. FLR, an altcoin with a, relatively speaking, pretty decently sized market cap. It's not too massive, but it's not too small either. And that's like something that I really want to look for, because I am not looking for a microcap, but I'm not looking for a dinosaur where the market cap is just too massive. So this fits the criteria that, I have in my mind. Now, it can be different on a case-by-case basis, because not every single person is going to think the same way or kind of, want to even take a look at Flare in the first place. But I do like it because I like its fundamentals. I like the community. I think FLR, the exchange listings are pretty good as well. And I like the community in terms of kind of the dedication it has and the passion. So as of right now, there's only thing that is within my control, which is staying patient. And that's pretty much about it, because even though I can take a look at historical data and see when altcoins typically peak as a worst case scenario, like I mentioned, earlier in the video, even despite all that, for me, it's just a waiting game. I have no control over what happens to the price of FLR next Tuesday, next Monday, the next 2 Wednesdays. Who knows? That's beyond me, because I am not able to know the future. I don't have a magic crystal ball. But what I can do is stay patient and just take a look at, kind of the project's fundamentals, and take a look at the market cap and see if it would even seem a little bit realistic at that certain price target. That's the only thing I can do. Beyond that, I can just stay patient, and that's pretty much it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to still do what I do, and that's stay the course. Dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. I treat this like a marathon. It's not a sprint for me. I'm not trying to leave, just by 20%, 30%, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. That's not my style. If I was doing that type of stuff, then why would I even bother trying to believe in projects like this? I'd probably be in some boring, nonsense or something like that. I am not going to try to, outsmart the market. That's not what I do. Some people ask me, oh, why don't you pull up a price chart, draw this triangle and all this? Do you think if I pulled up a price chart and drew falling wedge pattern, do you think the market is going to pay attention to that? Do you think it's going to do anything that I draw on the price chart? No. Also, on top of that, some people out there that I see, right, they make a video on, whatever project. They pull up a price chart, draw some random triangle, and then you know what they do? They say, oh, this is going to happen at this time. And then it doesn't happen. Then what happens? They keep adjusting it. Then at that point, I'm just drawing. I'm not into that. If I'm just trying to draw, that's a different case. And also, again, the market's not going to pay attention to that, so that's not what I want to do. I still believe in Flare. I'm still a fan of FLR, and I'm still excited for 2025. I think this is kind of like, a momentary sort of setback in a sense, where things are having a slight pullback, but again, makes sense. Some people out there, they want to exit, whatever. But to me, I still want to be here for more so not just 20, 30%, then I'm gone or something like that. Nah, that's not my vibe. That's not my style. I'm still staying patient and I'm waiting. That's pretty much about it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.